On a summer morning in Oregon, a mom watched her daughter walk out with the family dog for a short morning stroll, not knowing it would be the last time she'd see them. The police looked everywhere but found nothing. Volunteers searched too, but there were no clues, and the case got colder every week. But then, a year later, a hunter using a heat-sensing drone to track deer spotted something odd, starting a chain of events that would reveal a terrifying truth no one could have imagined. The doorbell rang loudly in the quiet morning. Sarah Miller pulled her robe tighter as she walked to the door, her bare feet cold on the wooden floor. Through the peephole, she saw Detective John Carter standing on her porch, his breath showing in the chilly Oregon air. Her heart sank. In the years since Emily vanished, every surprise visit from the police felt like it could bring final news. "Detective Carter," she said, opening the door, her voice shaky. "Have you found her, Mrs. Miller? Can I come in? I have news about your daughter's case." She let him in without a word, leading him to the living room where Emily's sophomore year school photo still sat on the mantel. The detective's face gave nothing away as he sat in the armchair. Across from her, early this morning, we got a call from a hunter named Tom Wilson. Detective Carter began, pulling out his tablet. He was using a heat-sensing drone to track deer in the Willow Creek National Forest. When it picked up a strange heat signal, Sarah's hands tightened in her lap. What kind of heat signal? At first, Mr. Wilson thought it was a fox. The drone showed a medium-sized animal tied to a tree deep in the forest. But when he flew the drone closer, the detective turned the tablet toward her, showing blurry heat footage. The shape and size were clearly a house dog, a golden retriever. To be exact, the room spun. Sarah grabbed the couch arm. "Max, we think so. The hunter called us right away, and we sent a team. Mrs. Miller, somehow. After a whole year, your daughter's dog is still alive." "That's impossible," Sarah whispered. "How could he survive so long? Where's Emily? Is she?" "We're sending search teams out now," Detective Carter said quickly. "Every unit we have is going to that area. But I need to tell you, the dog has been rescued. He's at the Northern Oregon Emergency Vet Clinic on Highway 12. He's alive, Mrs. Miller, and the rescue team says he's been taken care of." Sarah stood, her mind racing. "Taken care of? What do you mean?" "I think you should see for yourself. I can drive you there now if you want." 20 minutes later, they pulled into the vet clinic's parking lot. Sarah didn't wait for the detective to park before jumping out and rushing through the glass doors. The receptionist, seeing her urgency, led them straight to an exam room. Dr. Lisa Wong, a woman in her 40s with kind eyes behind glasses, was checking a golden retriever on the table. Even from behind, even after a year, Sarah knew it was Max. His fur was messy, his body thinner. But it was him, Mrs. Miller, Dr. Wong said gently, stepping aside. "He's calm with medicine right now, but he's going to be okay." Sarah's hands shook as she touched Max's fur. He was real, warm, breathing, alive. "How?" she asked. Dr. Wong looked puzzled. "That's what's strange. Despite some injuries and being tied up, Max shows signs of being fed regularly. This past year, we checked his stomach and found recent food, like dry dog food, probably from the last 12 hours. His body is in pretty good shape, considering. Someone was definitely taking care of him. Someone was keeping him alive," Detective Carter said quietly. "The question is who and why." Sarah's fingers found rope marks on Max's neck, fresh and sore. "These marks, yes, from being tied to the tree. But look here," Dr. Wong pointed to Max's collar. "This isn't the collar he had when he disappeared, is it?" Sarah stared at the plain blue collar. "No tags, no. He had a green leather collar with his tags, his name, our address, my phone number. This is different. Someone changed it," Detective Carter said, taking notes. "Someone who didn't want him identified if found too soon. But why keep him alive at all?" Sarah's voice broke. "If someone took Emily, why feed her dog for a year? Why tie him up where he could be found?" The detective's face hardened. "Those are questions we'll answer. Search teams are already in the area where Max was found. If Emily's out there, if there's any trace of her, we'll find it." Dr. Wong gently petted Max's head. "He's been through a lot, but he's tough. I'd like to keep him here for a day to run more tests. but he'll recover." Sarah nodded, unable to look away from the dog who was Emily's best friend. Max was Emily's 15th birthday gift. Just 2 years ago, they were always together, walking every Saturday morning, until that Saturday last July when neither came back. "Mrs. Miller," Detective Carter said softly, "this is the best lead we've had. Someone kept this dog alive for a reason. That someone knows what happened." To Emily, as Sarah stood in the clean exam room, watching Max breathe slowly, she felt something she hadn't felt in months: hope. Scary, fragile hope that someone out there had kept her daughter alive, just like they'd kept her dog. The phone rang as Sarah got home from the vet clinic. She'd spent the last hour with Max, watching him sleep, trying to understand the morning's news. Principal Mary Thompson's name showed on the caller ID. "Sarah, I just heard from the police about Emily's dog being found." Mary's voice was full of urgency. "The whole Riverside High School community wants to help. We're setting up volunteer search groups to check the forest where Max was found. We hope to find any sign of Emily." "Mary, Sarah's voice cracked. "Thank you. Several teachers are already heading to your house to plan. We won't waste a second. Emily's one of ours, and we'll bring her home within 30 minutes. Sarah's quiet house became a busy hub. Cars lined the street as teachers, staff, and parent volunteers arrived with maps, first aid kits, and walkie-talkies. Her kitchen table was covered with maps of the Willow Creek National Forest, and someone set up a coffee station on the counter. Coach Mike Davis, the school's soccer coach leading the search, stood at the table with a laser pointer. "Okay, everyone, listen up. We're splitting into teams of 6. Each team gets a section of the forest starting from where Max was found." He pointed to a red X on the map. "This is about 15 miles northeast of town, near Pine Road. It's tough ground, folks." Among the volunteers, Sarah noticed Mr. David Lee, Emily's science teacher. He stood a bit apart, studying the maps closely. Unlike the others in casual hiking clothes, Mr. Lee wore fancy new gear, a high-tech shirt, special pants, and expensive hiking boots. "Mrs. Miller," Mr. Lee walked over with a kind look, "I want you to know how much this has affected us. At school, Emily's such a special student." "Thank you, Mr. Lee. She always liked your class." His eyes lit up. "She's so dedicated to science. I remember last year, she stayed after class asking about college prep for science programs. She wanted to make you proud." Sarah was surprised. "She talked to you about college?" "Oh, yes, a lot. She was nervous about getting into Oregon State's science program. Said it was her dream school, but worried her grades weren't good enough. I told her with her hard work and smarts, she'd be fine." He paused, his face serious. "She mentioned feeling pressure to do well, especially after your family's changes." The mention of her divorce made Sarah tense. She didn't think Emily shared that with teachers. "I'd like to lead Search Team C," Mr. Lee said loudly, pulling out a GPS device from his backpack. "I'll take the eastern section. I studied search and rescue tips all night and brought supplies, flares, blankets, water purifiers." Coach Davis looked impressed. "That's solid prep, David. We appreciate it." Mr. Lee spread out a detailed map he'd printed, with trails and heights marked. "The eastern section has steep hills and thick bushes. It needs someone who knows hiking." "Where should I go?" Sarah asked, stepping closer. Mr. Lee looked up fast. "Oh, I think you should join Team A. Heading north, Mrs. Miller. That area's easier, mostly clear paths. The eastern route. Where I'm going is tough steep hills, loose rocks. We don't want you getting hurt when Emily needs you strong." Something about how he guided her away from his area made Sarah pause. But Coach Davis nodded. "He's right. Team A covers the north with old logging roads, easier ground." As teams got ready to leave, Sarah watched Mr. Lee organize his group, handing out supplies and giving a safety talk. For a science teacher, he seemed very ready for this, like he'd planned for it. "We'll find her, Mrs. Miller," he said, as he passed, touching her shoulder lightly. "I promise we'll search every inch of that forest. Emily deserves to come home." Before the teams left, there was a quiet moment as volunteers grabbed gear and checked plans. Sarah sat at the kitchen table with Mr. Lee and a few teachers, going over the search area again. Mr. Lee pulled his chair close, pointing at landmarks. On his map, you know, Mrs. Miller, he said in a friendly tone. I've been thinking about my talks with Emily last year. She mentioned places that might help us search. What kind of talks? Sarah asked, eager for any clue. Well, she often talked about college goals during our tutoring. She was really worried about letting you down, especially after your husband left 3 years ago. She felt she had to be perfect to make up for the family changes. Sarah's breath caught. The divorce was 3 years ago, yes, but Emily had seemed okay about it. She never shared those feelings with Sarah. She told you about that. Oh, yes, we talked a lot. Her need to be perfect was heavy on her. She'd say, Mom's been through so much. I can't let her down, or what if I'm not smart enough for college? She was so hard on herself. Mrs. Carter, the math teacher, shifted in her seat. I didn't know Emily was struggling that much. She always seemed confident in class. She opened up during tutoring. Mr. Lee explained, one-on-one time makes kids feel safe to share. I'm so thankful for those tutoring sessions, Sarah said, touching his arm. Her science grades went from B's to A's. Those Monday and Wednesday sessions really helped. Mr. Lee's face changed for a second before he smiled. Actually, it was Tuesdays and Thursdays. I remember because those were my tutoring days. Sarah frowned. No, I'm sure it was Mondays and Wednesdays. Those were my late shifts at the clinic. I'd leave dinner in the fridge for her. Memory can be fuzzy in tough times, Mr. Lee said smoothly. But I'm sure it was Tuesdays and Thursdays. Emily liked studying in the science prep room, not the library, because it was quieter, more private for focus. Coach Davis cut in. Isn't the prep room off limits to students? I made an exception for dedicated kids like Emily, Mr. Lee said. She helped organize supplies while we studied. Hands-on learning helped her remember better. His voice sounded fond. She earned extra credit staying after school to set up lab experiments. Such a hard worker. Sarah felt uneasy. The way he talked about private sessions. Knowing so much about Emily's thoughts, it seemed more than a normal teacher-student bond. How often were these prep room sessions? She asked carefully. Oh, pretty often. Sometimes she'd stay until 5 or 6 p.m., especially before big tests. She was determined to keep her A. He smiled. But something in his eyes made Sarah's skin crawl. I told her with her smarts and my help, she could do anything. His phone, face up, on the table, buzzed with a text. Sarah glimpsed the preview. Stick to the plan. He quickly flipped it over, moving to fast, to nervous. Probably other teachers checking on the search, he said, his voice a bit high. Aren't you going to check it? Mrs. Carter asked. Could be important for the search. No, it's probably nothing urgent, he said. We should focus on the maps. But Sarah saw his hands shake slightly as he pointed to the map. Her unease grew. The personal details, the wrong tutoring days, private meetings in restricted areas, and now a strange text alone. They might mean nothing, but together, they felt wrong. Mr. Lee, Sarah said slowly, did Emily ever mention favorite hiking spots in the forest? Any trails she loved? His eyes met hers, and for a moment, she saw something worry, maybe fear. No, she wasn't big on the outdoors, liked books more than hiking boots. That's why her disappearance is so odd. It wasn't like her to wander off. But Sarah knew that was a lie. Emily loved hiking, was on the trail team her freshman year. Either Mr. Lee didn't know her daughter as well as he said, or he was hiding something. Neither felt right. The noise outside grew as search teams loaded up. Through the window, Sarah saw Mr. Lee directing his team, handing out walkie-talkies, checking bags. Something about their kitchen talk bothered her. The wrong tutoring days. The way he knew so much about Emily's private thoughts, unable to shake her worry. Sarah slipped upstairs to Emily's room. She'd left it untouched since last July. A memory of her missing daughter. The bed had the blue blanket Emily picked for her 15th birthday. Her desk was neat, laptop closed, pencils in a cup, textbooks stacked on a shelf. Sarah opened the desk drawer and found Emily's planner, a thick book with monthly and weekly pages filled with her neat handwriting in colored pens. Flipping to last school year, Sarah found September and looked for tutoring notes. There, in the second week, in green ink, Science help Mr. L, 3:30, room 112. But it was on a Monday, not Tuesday or Thursday like Mr. Lee said. Her fingers shook as she turned pages. Another entry, 2 weeks later, on a Monday, then a Wednesday. In October, canceled, Mr. L has meeting, moved to Friday. The schedule wasn't regular Tuesdays and Thursdays like he claimed. It was random, often changed at his request. Sarah found Emily's report cards in the planner's pocket. In September, her science grade was a B. By October, when these after-school sessions got more frequent, it jumped to an A by November. Perfect. Scores. She checked October's weekly pages closely. In the margins, in Emily's favorite purple pen, were small notes. October 15th, Mr. L says I'm special, different from other kids. October 22nd, got my A today. Mr. L so proud. The words made Sarah's stomach twist. Got what? In November, more worrying notes. Several lunch periods were marked, science prep room, organizing supplies, but with times like 12 to 12:45 when lunch was only 30 minutes. Another said 12 to 12:50, late to math, but Mr. L wrote a pass. Her hands shook as she reached November 18th. In Emily's careful writing, Mr. L gave me a blue bracelet for being his best student today. So cool, he said not to show Mom. Other kids might get jealous. Our special secret, a bracelet. Sarah never saw a blue bracelet. She flipped through more pages, finding mentions of gifts and special treatment. December 3rd, Mr. L let me use his laptop for research during lunch. He trusts me so much. December 10th, found our secret study spot today. Mr. L says it's just for his special students. Had to promise not to tell anyone, not even Mia. Mia was Emily's best friend. They shared everything, or so Sarah thought. The December 15th entry was long. Filling the note section, Mr. L explained why our tutoring is different. He says I have potential that needs special care, away from regular kids. His words, the secret study spot is perfect, no interruptions, no jealous kids. He says by junior year, I'll be way ahead. Getting into Oregon State will be easy. Mom will be so proud, but we have to keep our methods secret. Mr. L says people wouldn't understand our special bond. Sarah's legs gave out, and she sat on Emily's bed, clutching the planner. The words, the secrecy, the gifts, the private meetings, it sounded like grooming. How had she missed this? How had the school, outside? She heard car doors as search teams got ready. Mr. Lee's voice came from the driveway, confident, giving last-minute orders. The same voice that called her daughter special, lured her with gifts and promises. Sarah's mind raced. Should she call Detective Carter? But what if she was wrong? Just a scared mom seeing things that weren't there. The entries were worrying, but not proof of a crime. And if she was right, if Mr. Lee had something to do with Emily's disappearance, what did that mean? Engines started outside, pushing her to decide. The search teams were leaving, including Mr. Lee's, heading to the eastern forest area he'd steered her away from. Sarah tucked the planner in her jacket and hurried downstairs. She saw her team A near Coach Davis's SUV, but her eyes were on Mr. Lee, walking to his blue Toyota Corolla. Mrs. Miller were about to head out, called Mrs. Carter from Team A. I'll be right there, Sarah said, heading to her own car. Just need something from my car. She got into her Honda Civic and started it, watching Mr. Lee's car pull out. Team C was supposed to go northeast to Pine Road where Max was found, but Mr. Lee turned south onto Highway 12, the opposite direction. Her hands gripped the wheel. Where was he going? She followed, keeping to cars between them when she could. The Sunday traffic was light, making it easy to track his blue Toyota. 3 miles down Highway 12, he pulled into a gas station. Sarah's heart pounded as she drove past, watching in her side mirror. He got out, looking around. Tense, she pulled into a Burger King lot a quarter mile away, watching the road. 5 minutes later, his Toyota passed, still heading south. She followed, letting 3 cars get between them. 2 miles later, he stopped at an old fruit stand. Sitting in his car for a minute, Sarah pulled onto a side road, hidden by pine trees, and watched through binoculars she'd bought for Emily's short bird watching phase. Mr. Lee checked his mirrors, looking around nervously, like he was watching for someone, maybe her. After a minute, he drove on. Sarah's mouth was dry, but she kept following. He turned west onto Oak Lane, a curvy road leading to older homes on the town's edge. Sarah knew this area, old craftsman houses from the 1900s mixed with newer ones. She stayed farther back, the lighter traffic making her car easier to spot. His Toyota vanished around curves, reappeared on straights, leading her into the countryside. After for miles, his turn signal flashed, and he pulled into a gravel driveway. Sarah drove past, glimpsing an old craftsman house hidden by overgrown bushes. She went a quarter mile, turned around, and parked behind some pine trees. Her phone had signal. With shaky fingers, she searched the address from the mailbox for 1247 Oak Lane. The county website loaded slowly, but it showed the owner as the estate of Margaret Lee, who died in November 2019. Beneficiary, David Lee. Her heart raced. She found Margaret's obituary, a retired teacher, survived by her grandson, David. The house had been in the Lee family since 1947. A Zillow search showed it was listed as a rental in March 2020. After Margaret's death, cozy 3-bedroom, craftsman on 2 acres, perfect for quiet living. But on June 15, 2023, it was marked temporarily off-market. Emily disappeared July 8, 2023. Less than a month later, Sarah crept toward the house on foot. Staying in the trees, the house looked neat, mowed lawn, fresh paint, but newspapers piled on the porch. Maybe a week's worth, like someone maintained it but didn't live there full-time. Fresh tire tracks in the gravel caught her eye, not just from Mr. Lee's Toyota by the garage, but another set leading to the back. The house looked empty, no lights on, no movement. But Mr. Lee had walked in with a key, like he came here often. He was supposed to be searching the forest for Emily, not here at a house he'd taken off the rental market weeks before she vanished. Sarah crouched behind huckleberry bushes, her phone ready with Detective Carter's number. Her thumb hovered over call. What would she say? That she followed a teacher to his grandma's house instead of joining the search. That she had a bad feeling from some planner notes, and him driving the wrong way. She could hear the detective. Did you see a crime? Do you have proof? What did she have? A teacher at his own house, a diary entries, a gut feeling. She needed more before calling. If she was wrong, she'd look paranoid and might mess up the real search. If she was right, she couldn't risk alerting Mr. Lee and putting Emily in danger. She backed away and returned to her car. Down Oak Lane, she found an old barn, its paint peeling, roof half collapsed. A dirt path led behind it, perfect to hide her car. She parked and walked back to the house through thick trees, pines, and cedars hiding her. The back of the house showed more. The basement was visible where the ground sloped. Most basement windows were glass blocks, thick and opaque, odd for a rental. But one small window, maybe 8 inches high to feet wide, had regular glass with curtains. Inside, fresh concrete patches around the foundation stood out, maybe a few months old. Lighter than the old concrete, Sarah crept closer, hiding in bushes. Her heart pounded so loud she feared it could be heard. At the small window, she crouched low, the glass just above the ground. A gap in the curtains let her peek inside, cupping her hands to block the light. What she saw stopped her cold. It was a classroom setup, a whiteboard with writing, a desk with neat textbooks, and on the chair, Emily's blue backpack with the torn pocket she'd patched with a star patch. The one she took that last morning to stop at the library. Tears blurred Sarah's vision, but she focused, noting everything. The textbooks were from Riverside High, including the science book Emily used. The whiteboard had notes on plant cells in Mr. Lee's neat handwriting, like on Emily's homework. The room looked lived in. A small fridge, a microwave, a narrow bed against stone walls, old stone. Like a root cellar, a door, likely to a bathroom, had pipes along the ceiling. Movement made her freeze. Mr. Lee came downstairs she couldn't see, carrying a tray with sandwiches, milk, and apple slices cut how Emily liked them. He moved out of sight, but she heard his voice through the glass. I brought lunch, ham and cheese, your favorite. A young girl's voice answered, too soft to hear clearly. Your mom still hasn't figured it out, Mr. Lee said, in that same friendly tone from her kitchen. Another reply, longer, tired, like a repeated talk. I know you miss him, Mr. Lee said, but it was needed. We couldn't let him lead them here too soon. You get that, right? Everything I do is to protect you, to protect what we're building. The girl's voice came again, and Sarah caught words through the window's draft. Mom won't. The assignments. Your mom will understand one day, Mr. Lee said. When you graduate with perfect grades, get into college, become everything you can be, she'll see I was right. Regular school was holding you back. Our way is better. Sarah covered her mouth to stop a sob. Emily, her baby, was down there, alive but trapped in this man's crazy plan. The stone walls and small window made it a perfect hidden cell, soundproof, invisible from the road. She had to call for help now. This was real proof. Her hand shook as she pulled out her phone, backing away from the window. The humming HVAC unit gave some cover as she pressed against it and dialed 911. 911. What's your emergency? The dispatcher's calm voice felt unreal against Sarah's racing heart. This is Sarah Miller, she whispered. My daughter Emily's been missing for a year. I'm at 4247 Oak Lane, and I can see her. She's in the basement, held by her teacher, David Lee. Ma'am, speak up. Did you say you see your missing daughter? The dispatcher, later identified as Emma Brown, was typing, alerting units. Yes, she's in the basement. I saw her backpack, heard him talking to her. It's 4247 Oak Lane. Sarah shifted to spell clearly, but her foot hit something that cracked loudly, a broken solar light. Its plastic and glass shattered. The back door slammed open, hitting the wall. Mr. Lee stood there, his face angry. His calm teacher looked gone. I know you're there, Sarah, he shouted, scanning the yard. You followed me. You couldn't trust me to search, could you? Sarah ran, phone to her ear, sprinting for the trees. The dispatcher's voice asked for her location. Oak Lane, 4247. Send help now. Her foot caught a root, and she fell, the phone flying. She scrambled, but Mr. Lee grabbed it, smashing it against the house's brick side. It broke into pieces. You don't understand. He yelled as Sarah got up and ran. You never got what Emily needs, the pressure you put on her, the bad school. I'm protecting her from a world that doesn't value gifted kids. Sarah crashed through bushes, branches scratching her. She heard his boots behind her. She had to reach her car. She was drowning in busy work and tests when she could be really learning. He shouted, closer. I gave her what you couldn't. Real attention, real education, a chance to be her best. The barn came into view. Sarah ran faster, legs burning. Her car was 50 feet away, 40, 30. She jumped in, locking the doors as Mr. Lee reached her, pounding the window. She wants to be there. She's thriving. You'll ruin everything we've built. Sarah started the car, reversing fast, gravel, flying. In her mirror, she saw him run to his Toyota. She spun onto the main road, her mind racing. The dispatcher had the address. She'd said it twice, spelled it. That had to be enough. She sped onto Oak Lane, taking curves too fast. His Toyota followed, driven with the same scary focus he showed in the yard. At Cedar Street, she turned right, tires squealing. He stayed close. She wove through a neighborhood, running stop signs, praying no kids were out. Left on Elm, right? On Second, left on Spruce. Highway 12 appeared, and she merged into traffic, horns blaring. His Toyota followed, cutting off a truck, but traffic helped her. She wove between cars while he got stuck behind a slow van. At the target intersection, she lost sight of him. She pulled into the lot, parking between the big trucks to hide her car. Her body shook, adrenaline making her sick. Without a phone, she couldn't know if help was coming. All she could do was wait and hope Emma Brown had understood enough. 20 minutes later, Officer Tom Clark of the Lincoln County Sheriff's Department spotted the blue Toyota Corolla, returning to 4247 Oak Lane. 2 other units were already there, finding the house empty. They were about to break in when the Toyota appeared. Mr. Lee saw the police too late, tried to reverse, but Officer Clark blocked him. Seconds later, officers had him out and handcuffed. His calm teacher act was gone. "You don't understand," he screamed as they read his rights. "She needs me, her education, her future. I'm the only one who gets her potential." Officers searched the house. The main floor looked normal, but in the basement, Deputy Ana Lopez noticed the water heater closet was odd. The heater was pushed forward. Behind it, she called, "Got a door here." It was hidden, painted like the wall, with a fancy lock. Mr. Lee's keys opened it, revealing a narrow hall to a steel door with a deadbolt locking from outside. Officer Clark opened it slowly. "Emily, this is the police. We're here to help." Inside was the room Sarah saw, a root cellar turned classroom prison. At the desk, pencil in hand, was Emily Miller. She looked up with tired eyes, pale from a year without sun. She was thin but not starving, in oversized clean clothes. She held a notebook filled with neat handwriting. "I need to finish this assignment," she said, her voice weak. "Mr. L says I can't get into college without a perfect GPA. I have a test tomorrow on cell division." "Emily, honey, you're safe now," Officer Clark said gently, stepping closer. "Your mom sent us. You're going home." "Home?" She looked confused, scared. "But I have homework, 3 chapters, 2 lab reports. Mr. L says if I fall behind, I'll never catch up. Other students are ahead." Deputy Lopez blinked back tears, seeing the 16-year-old clutch her notebook. Months of work to earn freedom through grades, not knowing no A's would free her from the man who stole her life. "We'll keep your work safe," Officer Clark promised, gently taking the notebook. "But now, we need to get you to your mom. She's been looking for you so long." At Lincoln Health Hospital, the bright lights felt harsh after the dim cellar. Emily sat on an exam bed in a big hospital gown while nurses checked her. She kept asking about her assignments, if someone brought her books, if she could have a pencil for math problems. In a room 3 floors down, Detective John Carter sat with David Lee. The teacher's calm was gone, his shirt messy, hair limp. "I want to explain," Lee said, almost begging. "People won't get it, but I need someone to know the truth." Detective Carter started his recorder. "Go ahead, Mr. Lee. Tell me everything." "I noticed Emily her first day in my freshman science class 3 years ago," Lee began, eyes far away. "She wasn't like other kids. She wanted approval, perfection. Most kids are lazy. But Emily listened, took perfect notes, asked questions after class." "When did it get inappropriate?" Carter asked, keeping his voice even despite disgust. "I saw her true potential," Lee corrected. "Her parents divorced. She felt unwanted. Not good enough. Her grades were B's. She came to me crying about her GPA." He leaned forward, as if Carter might understand. "I told her about weighted grades, how extra assignments could get her an A. She was so thankful, eager to prove herself." "You used her grades to control her," Carter said flatly. "I gave her motivation," Lee insisted. Lunch sessions started simple, reviewing in the prep room. She loved praise, needed to feel special. When I said she was different, she lit up. Carter's jaw tightened. "When did you first touch her?" Lee's face darkened. "It wasn't like that. It was connection. During a muscle lesson, I touched her shoulder to show a point. She didn't pull away, she leaned in. After that, boundaries blurred. A hand on her back, sitting close, hugs for perfect scores." "And the kidnapping?" Carter pressed. "Not planned," Lee said, agitated. "In June, Emily said her mom might take a job in Portland, move before junior year. I couldn't let that happen. She was close to perfection. A move would ruin her, expose her to bad teachers." He spoke with pride about preparing the cellar, soundproofing, ventilation, a toilet, fridge, microwave, books. "I told neighbors I was making a studio apartment. No one questioned a teacher fixing a family house." "The day she disappeared?" Carter asked. "I knew her routine. Saturday walks with Max on the river trail. Same time, same path. I met her near a quiet bridge. Old chemistry chloroform knocked her out. She didn't suffer. She woke in her new classroom. The dog was a trick. I picked a far forest spot. Fed him sometimes to keep him alive. A dead dog ends the search. A live one keeps it away from the truth." To floors up, Dr. Susan Bell, a counselor, sat with Emily in a cozy hospital room. Sarah watched through one-way glass. crying as Emily spoke flatly. Mr. L explained everything that first day, Emily said, staring at her hands. He said Mom was happy I was gone, could date without worry, save college money. He showed me a news story on his phone about runaways, said that's what police called me, not missing. How did that feel? Dr. Bell asked gently. Hurt, but then thankful. Mr. L said he cared about my education, risked everything to teach me without distractions or bad teachers. She described her routine: up at 6 a.m., cereal or toast, math till 9, science till lunch, history and English. After test prep and essays at night, he graded everything, praised perfection, scolded mistakes. He gave rewards for good work, Emily said. The blue bracelet for a month of A's, new books for great tests, extra food for perfect scores, laptop time for awesome essays, always watched. Did you try to leave? Dr. Bell asked. Emily looked confused. Where would I go? I was a runaway. Mom didn't want me. I'd missed too much school. Mr. L was preparing me to succeed. Out there, I'd fail. Dr. Jane Wilson, a trauma expert, told Sarah Emily had severe Stockholm Syndrome. A year alone with only her captor, plus his mind games, changed how she saw reality. She believed he protected her, that the world would reject her. When Sarah finally entered the room, Emily looked at her, unsure, like it wasn't real. Mom. Her voice wavered. Oh, baby, Sarah cried, hugging her. I never stopped looking, not one day. I love you so much. Emily was stiff, then softened slowly. He said you were glad, she whispered, that I was too much trouble, too costly. Never. Sarah said fiercely, you're my whole world. Everything I did was to find you. Detective Carter came in quietly, nodding to Dr. Bell. We found everything, he said softly. The blue bracelet, assignments, essays about a gap year for study. His manipulation was total. Emily pulled back, worried. My assignments, did you save them? I need them for college. Her voice grew scared. Will I still get into college after missing a year? Mr. L said his homeschool was better, but what if colleges don't take it? What if I ruined everything? Sarah held her tighter, feeling Emily's thin frame, knowing the rescue was just the start. Her daughter thought her worth was perfect, grades, that love depended on school success, that a year locked away was better than failing at school. Healing from that would take much longer than fixing her body. We'll figure it out together. Sarah whispered, stroking Emily's dull hair. Whatever you need, however long it takes. You're safe now, that's what matters. But even as she said it, she felt Emily's fear that safety might not be enough without the perfect grades that defined her. In that basement prison,